October baseball may be getting hot, but 4 teams have already been cooled off. The postseason is a friend to none when every team is out to claim a spot in the next series, and the wild card showed just that. Welcome back to Penn State Sports Night. I'm Sydney Coxe, joined by Sawyer, Bogaty, and Mirzayan. Now the divisional series, both for the American League and National League, started this past Saturday after the wildcard rounds wrapped up last week. With the wildcard now a past thought, what's something that's still on your mind?
Well, first of all, I think it's important to mention what I would say is the best series from the wildcard series, which is the one we see in the bottom right here, the New York Yankees and the Boston Red Sox, who actually marked the first time a team lost Game 1 in the wildcard series and came back to win the next 2. And that's a big thanks to the man on that screen, Cam Schlittler, who went 8 innings and had 12 Ks in his postseason debut. Pretty impressive.
Schlittler, I think, made the difference for this because Red Sox and Yankees, they were evenly matched going into this. I was not expecting a very outrageous win, so I think that the pitching made a really, really big difference to get that lead and get out ahead for the Yankees.
Well, I was always, at the start of this series, I said, the Red Sox, they were most likely going to win Game 1 because they had Garrett Crochet going. Even though he was going against Max Fried, it felt like they had that edge, and they did win Game 1, and I really thought that they were going to be able to knock the Yanks out, but gritty performance from the Yankees to come back down 1-0.
What shocked me the most was the Tigers. I did not expect this whatsoever. I was thinking the Guardians were going to be going on a very, very strong streak. So I was genuinely surprised the Tigers were able to fight back and get their way into divisionals.
Yeah, Guardians came in as the hottest team in baseball coming into the playoffs. Tarek School made them look kind of silly in Game 1, but they bounced back in Game 2. It was really close in Game 2. It was 1-1 heading into the 8th before Brian Rocchio and Bo Naylor broke it open. But Detroit bounced back and had a convincing win in Game 3. Very impressive.
I definitely think that the second game of that series, when they were just quiet, that definitely made me worry for them too.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, they're a very polarizing team. The Tigers are, because they were so hot to start the year that they really cooled off to a point where they blew the division.
It was quiet.
And they just keep finding ways to win. So that'll be very interesting, and it'll be very interesting to see how they fare in the ALDS.
If we talk about my Dodgers, though, guys.
I was going to say.
The Dodgers, who wasn't expecting this, though?
And
that's my question.
Moving on to the games that are currently being played in our division series. So there are a bunch of games being played right now, actually. We have the teams that played earlier tonight for the Dodgers and the Phillies series that we're going to get to in a minute. But the games that are being played right now, we have the Cubs and the Brewers that are currently 3-3 going into the top of the third. But let's see how our wildcard team shaped up in our division series. We have both the American and National League here. What do you guys have to say about how our wildcard teams are falling into place?
I think the Dodgers are going just as you'd expect it to be. They have a really strong bullpen. I was kind of surprised, though, because I don't think Shohei Ohtani is showing out as well as I expected him to going into the postseason. Additionally, Sanchez really kept them on their heels in their offense, so I want to see how the Phillies games keep going. I do think the Dodgers are going to take it, though. Maybe I'm being optimistic, but
I thought that if the Phillies were going to be able to take Game 1 against Ohtani, that they would have a better run, but this game tonight is not giving me good expectations for the rest of the series.
Yeah, the Phillies have really put themselves into a really difficult hole to climb out of. They've now lost the first 2 games of the NLDS at home to now cross the country, go to LA, and have to win 2 just to get back to Citizens Bank Park feels like a tall enough task on its own. And you're doing that, with guys like Bryce Harper struggling. Nick Castellanos came around tonight finally. JT Realmuto has really struggled. Bryson Stott struggled the entire year. The Phillies are just kind of beaten down right now.
And especially in a way that in past years, this is when they've come alive. And the end of a game, regardless, and especially past weeks, that this is when they've especially come alive in the postseason. But in past years, that they've just died. Yeah,
I started to see that spark in the 9th inning tonight. Down 4-1, and they made it 4-3 and put the tying run 90 feet away. But
they just
talking about this Cubs-Brewers series, Milwaukee up 1 game right now. Obviously, that game is actively going on. I really like Milwaukee. Everybody says they've used the power of friendship this year, and it's something that is true, right? You don't have those big names on Milwaukee. Obviously, you have Jackson Chourio. He's now dealing with a hamstring injury, could be in trouble for the rest of the playoffs. They really don't have those guys. Andrew Vaughn really has been excellent, though, for Milwaukee this year.
I know, they shocked me I thought they were a pitching team for the longest time. I was like, no, they're going to pitch their way to go into postseason. They are so strong offensively. They have 806 runs just this season. That is the highest number they've gotten since 1999. So I'm shocked that they are an offensive team. It is truly, that's why I think they have it kind of, they're going to beat the Cubs just because they are such a strong offensive talent. I don't know.
Now, if the Cubs can win this game tonight and send it back to Wrigley, even at a game apiece, I almost would like the Cubs here because really tough to play at Wrigley. The Brewers know that best, being in the NL Central. So if the Cubs can get a game, get that win tonight, I could see them definitely making that a tough series.
What's your take on the Blue Jays series?
There's one word. A savage. Like, what do you want me to say?
Exactly.
He was outstanding. 11 strikeouts. That is such an impressive number, and it really made them stand out against the Yankees. I was shocked the Yankees were able to get back a few points later in the game. It kind of impressed me, but I'm thinking the Jays are taking the whole thing.
They're just demolishing them in these past 2 games here.
I don't understand how they're doing it.
Crazy.
If I'm being honest, the Blue Jays, I picked as one of my teams to be one of those teams that they come in as a 1 seed and they fizzle out in the playoffs.
Yes.
It has been nothing of the sort. Their bats have exploded in the first 2 games of this ALDS, and it doesn't look like they're stopping anytime soon. I could absolutely see them sweeping the Yankees. I don't see the Yankees coming back in this series, having to go back to Toronto for Game 5 if they're to make it there.
If we're to make it there.
You're being really nice.
Especially after what we just said in the wild card, it's really hurtful to say that we probably aren't even going to get there.
I feel like this season might be a lost cause for the quest for 28, as many Yankee fans say. Moving on to this Mariners-Tigers series. This is one of those really tough ones to judge. Jorge Polanco, though, 2 homers off Tarek Skubal in that game last night to even up the series at 1-1. I love the Mariners. I think this is a team with a lot of potential. They finished the year really hot. But the Tigers, they seem to be doing all right. They're even at a game apiece. So
I mean, I think it's going to be a really, really tight match with these teams. First game, 11th inning. Like, that's how far I think it'll be a very, very, very tight competition between these 2 teams. I do see the Mariners coming out ahead, though. I think the Tigers are a little too unpredictable for me because I just didn't think they make it this far in the first place. Yeah. So I don't know how that's going to go.
They're too hot and cold to keep it on.
100%. But getting that win against Skubal is huge for Seattle because he's likely going to come back and pitch Game 5, assuming we get there. So that's a huge win for Seattle. But a big thing to talk about with them is the absence of Brian Wu, not added to the ALDS roster, still dealing with an injury. That's trouble for Seattle, and it's going to be trouble for them, especially if they make it further. His health is really, really, really dependent on how far they go this year.
Talking about predictability, we got some predictions in the future. Not only are we coming off of the DSs going into the Champions Series, but we also have the future of the World Series ahead. What is some of your guys' predictions going into both the Champions Series and some of these matchups ahead when we come out of this week? But what is your guys' prediction for the World Series?
So in the ALCS, I will say I'm going to have the Mariners and I'm going to take the Blue Jays. I'm going to take the Mariners to go to the World Series. I think they'll do it in probably 7 games. And then in the NLCS, it's going to be the Dodgers versus the Brewers, I believe. And I'm going to take the Dodgers to go to the World Series. And for my World Series pick, I'm actually going to change it. I had the Mariners originally, and I'm going to go with the LA Dodgers. And they just look like the hottest team right now. So I'm going to take the Dodgers. And I'll say my World Series MVP is going to be Teoscar Hernandez.
I have a similar shakeup. I'm seeing Mariners, Jays, and then Dodgers, Brewers. I personally think it'll be a very, very tough match between the Brewers and the Dodgers. I think it'll go Game 7. And then the Dodgers, if I'm being optimistic, they'll make it to the World Series. I do kind of hope the Mariners make it to the World Series because I think it'll be easier for the Dodgers to take them down. However, the Jays are on something right now. I don't know what it is. So I'm seeing them in the World Series. Hopefully Dodgers taking it all.
Well, I guess we'll just have to see how it all plays out considering my Phillies are looking out of it. But the Divisional Series games are set to wrap up their best-of-5 series by the end of the week, but only time will tell who will get sent into the championship rounds. For Sawyer Bogaty and Parker Mirzayan, I'm Sydney Coxe. Thank you for watching Penn State Sports Night.
Hey everybody, thanks for tuning into this edition of Penn State Sports Night.
For more content like this, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel, give us a like, and follow our socials down below.
And as always, we are
Penn State Sports Night.